Good evening and welcome to Late Night Review, where we talk about what's happening
and what's not.
I'm Jack Overbeck.
I'm Jamie Dunaway, and here are tonight's top stories.
The United Auto Workers Union began a nationwide strike late Sunday night over a contract dispute with General Motors, affecting over 40,000 workers across the U.S. In a surprising turn of events, the union has gained the vocal support of General Motors' sidekick, Captain Battery Acid.
The most isolated tribe in the U.S., the Havasupai Reservation, recently got broadband internet access. Tribal elders scrolled TikTok for an hour before saying, "Thanks, but we'll pass."
KFC recently announced they will be launching a dating simulator called I Love You, Colonel Sanders. Colonel Sanders will apparently rate his romantic interactions with players on a scale of raw to finger-licking good.
A shortage of White Claw swept West Campus last week, sowing fear, dread, and order. But, and I'm just getting this now, there may be a new fad taking its place. I'm hearing it's cocaine. It's cocaine.
Rick Ocasek, frontman of rock band The Cars, died this past Sunday in his New York apartment. Great. After Daniel Johnston's passing last week, I guess that's just what I needed.
In other food shortage news, we are now entering week 2 of the Popeye's chicken sandwich famine. To quell the starving masses, the fast food chain released an ad begging patrons to, quote, bring their own buns to restaurants. Only I can't bring my own buns to Popeye's because Popeye's spicy chicken already ruined them.
Recent medical studies are saying that taking one baby aspirin a day could aid in pregnancies and help save mothers' and babies' lives. Once the baby is born, however, parents are free to return to taking Xanax. Last week, President Trump announced that he had canceled a top-secret meeting at Camp David with the Taliban. Here to comment, the delegate of the West Virginia chapter of the Taliban, Elrod.
What it do, my brothers? Geez, it is nice to finally take a load off. I've been traveling here for 4 days.
4 days to get here? Let me guess, you took a horse.
I rode Greyhound, you bigot. Jesus, that is deep profiling, and I am severely offended.
Wow, I'm sorry, Elrod, and I agree that the bus is a real pain.
Bus? No, I took a literal Greyhound down here. He kept panting and needing to take a crap in the middle of I-35. I tell you, that was a longer and bumpier ride than I had with my cousin Luann.
Well, you're here now, and we'd love to talk to you about the canceled meeting with President Trump.
I tell you, that man is my president every day of the week. But he needs to learn what it is like to lead a terrorist organization. We show up to this dude's private estate, and what do I get to eat? This Clementine with fingers hands me a fish fillet from McDonald's. We come in expecting high-tier cuisine, and we're given a 2x4 on a bun. I bit into it, and my last 2 good molars came out with it. So we left before the meeting actually started. I always live by my rule. If it's fishy, pull out. My cousin Dietrich taught me that one.
Well, I guess I can understand your gripe. You're the leader of a pretty notorious group, and to be fed the same way as a college football team is pretty disrespectful.
Exactly. Especially considering we had specifically requested Popeye's chicken sandwiches.
Wait, so you left because he didn't have the new Popeye's chicken sandwich?
See, I have waited months to get my hands on what sounds like pure heaven. I have a really tough job, okay? It takes a man with a lot of morals and discipline to harbor radical terrorism the way I do. At the end of a long day, I just want a crisp, golden piece of bird meat slathered in that spicy Popeye sauce. 2 gloriously tart pickles, all sandwiched between buns softer than my cousin Marta's.
But you know the sandwich has been temporarily discontinued, right?
We are talking about the President of the damn United States here, Jack. If a man can go from illegally tampering with women to illegally tampering with evidence, then surely he can get me a chicken sandwich at my behest. It's the only way that I can calm down after all this jihad I see. That and the cat.
What? I'm sorry, did you just say ket?
Ketamine, my good friend. Introduced to me by Mr. Malawi Hibatula Akinzada, my good friend, master joke teller, and my boss and leader of the Taliban.
What? Okay, so you're serious. The leader of the Taliban introduced you to ketamine.
It's a tough job, my man. Fun fact, nearly every regional leader of the Taliban does good old-fashioned ket. We need it to cool our nerves. Hell, within my box I have at home, I have enough to body swap with a jackalope or mind meld with an armadillo. In my eyes, I live by a little acronym. The 3 Ks.
Oh, good God.
Ketamine, cousins, and my main man, Christ.
Okay, Christ? Elrod, I thought you were a Taliban member.
Born and raised, brother, put her there.
Okay, but you know that the Taliban is a Muslim organization, right?
Say what now?
Yeah, he's right. It's a militant group from Afghanistan that follows the tenets of Islam.
What is Islam?
Elrod, everybody!
Well, a report came in this week stating that the Loch Ness Monster might actually be an eel on account of a, quote, surprisingly high amount of eel DNA in the waters of Loch Ness. Which begs the question, what is an acceptable amount of eel DNA? Because I've got 3 cisterns of the old eel juice at home. Does that make me a weirdo?
Sexual assault allegations against Brett Kavanaugh dating back to his Yale days have resurfaced after a whistleblower exposed that the FBI knew of the reports and did nothing. Many are now calling for Kavanaugh's impeachment, and if you're one of the many on Google wondering if there's another way to get him out of a lifelong commitment, just ask one of Kavanaugh's biggest supporters, Jeffrey Epstein.
Purdue Pharma officially filed for Chapter 11 bankruptcy Sunday, following a tentative settlement with the government over its role in the opioid crisis. Forbidden to sell OxyContin, Purdue will now have to offload their supply of painkillers some other way. And, oh, look at that, I've been sitting on a nail this whole time.
The Trump administration has announced new legislation banning e-cigarettes. Nancy Pelosi has stated she'll support the bill if, and only if, an amendment is added limiting the amount of smoke Trump blows out his ass.
The third Democratic primary debate was last Wednesday. Highlights included former San Antonio Mayor Julian Castro challenging former Vice President Joe Biden's memory, saying, quote, "Did you forget what you said 2 minutes ago?" Biden then responded, "As Obama's vice president, I vow to support all the decisions I make in office. And furthermore, who are you again? Where am I?"
Meanwhile, California Senator Kamala Harris took jabs at President Trump, comparing him to, quote, "that guy in The Wizard of Oz, you know when you pull back the curtain and it's a really small dude?" After the crowd's lackluster response, Harris was observed clicking her heels and muttering, "There's no place like court. There's no place like court."
A visitor to a public library in Indiana was shocked to find a taco folded in the pages of a book being used as a bookmark, which is ridiculous because a cultured person would use an empanada for that. For a late night review, I'm Jamie Dunaway.
I'm Jack Overbeck. Good night!
Some of us from Houston, some of us from Dallas, some close to Mexico. Shout out to the Valley. Watch Longhorn.